In 1919, he hit 29 home runs and was sold to the New York Yankees.
A three-run home run for Buckington. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Bill Lee is now going over to a couple of the Yankees, and there they go again.
Strong hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series.
Varitek and A-Rod going at it. Roberts is going. Posada's throw. Roberts safe.
And what can I say? Just tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddies.
Welcome to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports, episode 145. We should have timed it to have it be like 162.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good.
That would have been really good. You two clowns. Matt Soroyce is here, Clown A.
Yeah.
And Clown B is John Senecal. I'm Brian Shackman. I am not a clown.
You're a real fan, yeah.
If you go to YouTube and watch the show, they both have their Yankee shirts on. I don't
bust this out too often. I hardly ever wear this. I think I've probably worn it like 5 times.
You got it. What was your total number of Yankee crap?
Oh, Jesus. I looked at it. We did
it's
that
over like
right,
40 or something,
it's
wasn't
a
it?
lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
I don't like the Yankees.
And I couldn't wear this when they didn't make the playoffs and won 82 games last year because it did not fit.
Because it was, is that like a wait, really?
Yeah, it was tight. Now this is like a little loose.
People who follow our morning show, Brian and Company on WTIC News Talk 1080, know that Matt is on a weight loss journey. What is the number now?
As many pounds as the Yankees had wins last year.
82?
82.
Let's go.
Crank it.
Stanton lost weight too.
So,
yeah.
Listen, so the goal is to make it to 105 by the end of September?
We're hopeful, yeah. Have as many pounds down as wins. That would be nice.
We will talk about the season, and we'll make our predictions, and we're glad to have Matt on board. I do want to touch on the Ohtani stuff real quick off the top, because you start to read stuff now that he's so careless, he doesn't care about money, that some people are saying, well, it is plausible. And I got ripped for saying, like, culturally, I felt like friends. I felt like there's loyalty in the Japanese culture is so strong. I could not imagine this happening. And I also couldn't imagine someone letting like Matt and I talked about this. $4.5 million gets missing in your account and you don't notice. I mean, that's the one piece of this that I can't get over.
Yeah, I'm wondering like how much Shohei's really worth. Like before he signed like his Dodgers contract, because this has all allegedly happened before he came to the Dodgers.
Right.
And he was a superstar in Japan for a while. So he has a lot of money coming into this thing. But at first I was like, okay, this guy's like a patsy, like they're gonna frame him and all this. But I think more and more, I think the guy's just a con artist. I really think the Ippei guy is a con artist.
You do?
Well, at first I was like, where did this guy come from? I thought he was painted like he came over from Japan with Shohei, and he's like his buddy from long ago.
He grew up here.
He's literally just like a dude who got a job with the Angels as an interpreter for Shohei, and just kind of like.
But spent 10 years with the guy.
But he's also like, if you read, like he faked his resume in college. He's got all sorts of shady things. So and he's a compulsive gambler apparently. So. So
you believe the story?
Con artist.
You believe
really
it.
Screams con artist.
I don't know. I like to believe that, but there's just no way that. I said to you, Brian, too. Like every time I buy a new TV or something for over $400, my bank gets an alert, or like I get like a text message saying like, "Hey, was this you that spent $400?" $4.5 million comes out of the guy's bank account. I get it in increments, but you got to know. And if you're spending time with the guy every single day, you get to know his habits. And the big thing that's glaring to me, too, is that it's happened in California, and they don't have, like, a FanDuel or DraftKings app in California. It's
right, it has to be
all
shady.
illegal. It's all
because you got to go
type
through
of
real
stuff.
actual bookies where they break your
like
legs.
96 type of deal, like meet a guy on the streets.
The other thing I question, and I question this a lot in professional sports in general, is like the legitimacy of like the language barrier. Like, how much of a language barrier is there really? Like, we're talking about an international superstar here who's like legit probably one of the best athletes on the planet, yet he's been in this country for how many years, and you can't figure out bank accounts and talking and all this other stuff.
I agree.
It smells on both ends a little.
This is touchy territory because you don't want to be the guy that says they should speak English. They're in our country, because then you get in a lot of trouble. Having said that, everybody knows that Rafael Devers can speak English and he understands it perfectly. But he doesn't want to. I understand the self-consciousness. You don't want to make mistakes and you want to be perfect. So if you want to be understood perfectly. You speak in your most comfortable way and then get interpreted. But I would like to see, someone like Shohei or Devers speak to us more in English so I can hear from them.
He seems very in tune in a lot of times when I've seen him in
he
press
understands
conferences
everything
and stuff. So it's either he's super shady and he something caught up to him,
or he's
really
super
bad,
naive,
or he's super naive and he just let this guy and was just like, if you're worth that much money and $4.5 million goes missing over a long period of time, think about it. If you lost $100 6 months ago, all right, and somehow it just disappeared. I mean, yeah, you might notice it, or $25. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's probably worth at least $500 million.
So John thinks it's totally plausible. You're skeptical, and I'm like in the middle.
I'm skeptical to the point where I think until the investigation's over, they should have suspended Ohtani.
That would have been.
But it'll never happen
That'd
because
have been nuts.
Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred want this
imagine
under
that?
the rug as fast as possible.
Like, they want this to go away so bad,
Oh my gosh.
so quick. And, in a way, I kind of feel bad for this Ipe guy if he has some sort of, like, actual truth in what he's saying, because he's up against a giant here. He is up against an absolute giant here. And he started this whole thing apparently without legal counsel, and
Mistake.
Yeah.
Mistake number 712.
Maybe the shadiest thing, though, is how the story changed in a matter of like 18 to 24 hours, and the fact that the story came out.
Well, even Ohtani changed his story. That's the thing.
And these two were joking around in a dugout in Korea
after it came out.
And it just seems a little bit suspect.
And ultimately, we'll move on. He's worth a ton of money. He's on a big stage, and he's called upon to do a lot, but he's still a kid. And kids make mistakes. So, I mean, I don't know if we'll get the truth. I don't know that we will.
It's found out. That's a mistake you can't come back from.
But we'll find out for sure. And the Pete Rose memes are what we're here for.
Oh, yeah, I know. They had a great one.
One interpreter away from being in the Hall of Fame.
That's so funny. John Senecal, Matt Soroyce, Brian Shackman here. It is Fan Base, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. I guess just for the sake of time, I think we should just make our predictions. And, I'll start with I think I understand that the Rangers won the World Series and the Astros were tough, but I think that the NL West and the AL East are the two best divisions in baseball. So why don't we do those first? Or do you want to save the Yankees and the AL East for last? John?
Just go where you're going. Okay.
So let's start with the AL East. You guys follow stuff way more. I'll just say that I think the Tampa's, they're on the downside. Toronto, I'm not going to get suckered in again. Watch, this is the year. Baltimore is still going to be good and a playoff team, but I don't know if they're better. And I think the Yankees could win 100 games and set the Major League record for runs scored. I think their offense could be that good. So I hate to say it, I'm picking the Yankees to win it, and I'm picking the Orioles to go wild card. And I don't know if anyone else makes the playoffs out of the division.
It's interesting that you're not hot on Tampa, because for some reason everybody that I've heard and talked, all the pundits out there, still love Tampa for some reason, and every year we say it, like, why? And for some reason that team is always in the mix. But I don't see it as much as for Tampa in the East. I'd love to say the Yankees are going to win the East. I think they will score a lot of runs. I do think that, but I'm just skeptical that an acquisition of Soto is going to make up for 15 wins of Garrett Cole.
So the Cole is the big sticking point for you.
I really do. I mean, if Garrett Cole can come back and actually be healthy, and if it all depends on how the season is going, right? If they even bring him back. But Cole aside, I still think the Orioles are probably the better team in the AL East. I honestly, everyone's crapping on the Red Sox. I don't think the Red Sox are the worst team in the AL East. I honestly think the Blue Jays aren't going to be as good. I think the Blue Jays will finish last in the
They'll
AL
take
East.
a step back.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Red Sox, as much as I hate to say it, I think the Red Sox have something to prove. I think they're going to have a little bit of chip on their shoulder. I think Cora will have a little bit of chip on his shoulder.
Well, he's in a contract.
And I think he'll have the team thinking in the right direction to kind of shove it in their face direction, shove it in the ownership, shove it in everybody's face. But that aside, I would love to say the Yankees win the AL East, but I don't think they will. I do think the Yankees will make the wild card, though.
Do you think there'll be a second wild card?
Are
there three now? Is that it?
There's three wild cards. Yeah. I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I think yes. I think there'll be three teams out of the AL, 3 teams total out of the AL East, and I think there'll be 2 coming out of the AL West. Right? Yes. 2 teams, one wild card and one regular.
Okay, and only one out of the Central. What about you, AL East?
I would love to see the Yankees are gonna correct some stuff. Their offense is there. Just the same thing that John said. I really worry about Garrett Cole. And when the Yankees say, "Yeah, we're gonna shut him down for 1 to 2 months," that could mean the season. When they say that, because
it may well be.
Just how they work. It's like, don't worry, yeah, he'll be back, and then July rolls around and we're still like, what the hell's going on with Garrett Cole? It should be pitching this weekend. Like, is the time yet? And they're like, yeah, no, he's going to be shut down for.
So
a
what's
whole
your
year.
prediction then? Forget about your qualifiers. What you didn't even make a. So you said Baltimore wins it and Yankees get the wild card. What do you?
I'm going to flip flop that. I think the Yankees offense. There's no reason why they can't score 7 runs a game against any pitching in the entire league. Up and down, they should score 6 to 7 runs a game. So I'm going to take the Yankees to win the AL East, and Baltimore to.
And there's just one wild card.
Just one wild card of the AL East.
I forgot the other wild card, so I was going to say Tampa would be the other wild card.
They would be okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the NL West. I just think that I'm fascinated by the division because the Padres, even though they overplayed their hand, they still have talent. And the Diamondbacks got, after last season where they surprised a ton of people, they added Montgomery. And the Giants, they seem to get better too. And I don't know if the kids growing up from the Hartford Yard Goats can help Colorado, but they're probably the last place team there. I don't know what to say here. I mean, I think Arizona, San Diego, and LA are potentially playoff teams. I just don't know if the Padres are going to, crap themselves again. I don't know. So I would say Dodgers, by sheer force of talent, will win it. But I think that the other 2 teams could be wildcard teams. I think the Padres could be a playoff team if they finally put it together.
I'd love to see the Padres in there. I really would. But God, what a collapse last year by them. That was
they gave up.
Watch. Yeah. They really did. But yeah, obviously the Dodgers got to be the front runner out of the West just by the sheer horsepower and talent that they have. Mookie Betts and Shohei and pitching from up and down as well. But I would. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time. We'd love to watch the Dodgers fail.
I really think they're kind of evil empire-ish now. So
yeah.
I don't root for them, but I love Mookie. But
I love San Francisco. I love what they did in the offseason too, and they could be in the mix.
Yeah, I think that division, like you said, is the next strongest division. I do see it 3 teams. I see the Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers' road to the division is going to be as easy as everyone thinks. I think the Diamondbacks are going to be snapping at them the whole way. I mean, the Diamondbacks got so much better, and they added Jock Peterson. I mean, that dude just makes his team better. And obviously Montgomery, their pitching is probably not 1 or 2 best rotations in the NL. So I see those 3 teams, and I think San Diego, the addition of Dylan Cease, they got the young player Jackson Merrill, who's going to play center field for them. I think they got a good shot as long as their pitching stays healthy. I think they got a good shot. So I still think the Dodgers win it. It's close, but they got reinforcements coming. Remember, Clayton Kershaw is coming back mid-year. Walker Buehler will be back mid-year. So if they hang around, they're the Dodgers, right? I mean, they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there. Will they win the World Series? I don't know. We got to do our picks on that later. But I think 3 teams. Yeah, Dodgers win it though.
Okay.
2 wild cards.
And you think it's Giants and D-backs, or you think?
No, I think it's Padres and D-backs are the wild cards.
Fun for me. All right, let's rip through it since we want to do playoffs. AL Central. Why don't somebody else start?
I'll start it. This, historically, the Central divisions are the most boring divisions in baseball in the last 15 years, right?
Agreed.
White Sox are going to be in the basement. I think that the Tigers are going to surprise a lot of people, a lot of young talent, some good pitching on that team, and I think they'll win the division. I think the reign for the Twins sneaking in and just somehow figuring it out, and because they won 4 games in September in a row, and next thing they know they're in the playoffs. I think that's over. I'm going to go with Tigers, and then probably the other big surprise will be the Royals.
So this is a division, Matt, where only one team was over 500 last year.
Oh. Yeah, like John said, it is boring as all get out for sure, and I love watching Spencer Torkelson. He's like one of my favorite younger players. Him and Bobby Witt too, and on Kansas City as well. So that's 2 exciting guys in an all-around boring division. I do like the Tigers pick a lot. I think the Twins still just hang around. Like they're just the annoying mosquito that won't go away. Especially they tend to make the playoffs every year, and you're like,
because they play in a suck division.
Yeah, and that's how
they do. They string together like 5 wins late in September.
It's pretty unbelievable. But I would love to see the Tigers take a step And
as much
win
as
that
I don't like
division,
AJ Hinch,
cool.
I like that team would be exciting. I think they'd be like this year's Diamondbacks, kind of, you know.
Yeah, and when they do well, that city hums. I've been there. It's fun to go to a ball game. You know, you got a division. You take the AL East. The Sox imploded at the end, and they were in last with 84 losses. The Central had 200 lost teams. So, like, if you look at the Red Sox record, they would have finished in second place in the Central.
Yeah,
right. And then you go to the West.
Yankees would have won it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. The Blue Jays would have won it.
Heck, the A's would have won it.
So I mean, then you go to the West where they had the A's obviously lost 112, but the top half of the division is phenomenal. And I tend to think the Astros window is closed, but I really don't know. Rangers won the World Series, and the Mariners seem to be for a lot of the season trending to the upside. So what do you think?
I like the Seattle Mariners. I really, really do. That it seems like, you know, we talked about in this area with UConn, how they like made it a little bit and then had to like take a dip down and then like back up, and they're finally ready to break through. They have maybe the best rotation in baseball, and it's led by Luis Castillo, who's just unbelievable. Should have been a Yankee. I don't know what happened there, but I really like them to win this division. They seem to start off hot and finish hot.
Yeah,
they just got to put it together in the middle of the season.
That's a bold choice.
Keep it going.
I mean, I like it because I don't like the other two teams.
Yeah, I mean, Houston annoys the heck out of me, but you know the championship, you know, runs through Houston, right? I mean, this year it will run through Texas if you say repeat, but Houston's been the perennial ALCS team for the last 8-9 seasons in a row. I like Seattle. I like their pitching. I love J-Rod. I love what he brings to the team. I think he just makes everyone better. That said, there's 3 really good teams in that division, and we got to pick one.
Well, you're only given one wild card in that
right.
division,
So I'm gonna go.
I think they could get 2. But
yeah, well, I mean, listen. So Texas is hoping that DeGrom's gonna come back and Scherzer's gonna come back, but listen, Scherzer coming back is what, 40 years old? That's like Verlander coming back, right? Verlander's is like 40 or 41.
Yep.
So.
And DeGrom is basically 41.
Big question marks. Big, huge question marks. Like, coming off an injury. It's like the Yankees, you know, they have huge question marks too, like their rotation. So, but I can't bet against the Houston Astros based on experience, and their lineup is just dirty. Their lineup is sick, and their bullpen just got better. Their bullpen was probably one of the best in baseball, and it got better.
So your prediction is?
I think the Astros are going to win the West, and then Seattle will be the wild card.
And then Rangers go from World Series to out of the playoffs.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to the always fun NL East because, let's face it, the Braves, I know you love the Braves. Not love them, but you think that they're great.
I mean, they're unbelievable.
And, you know, the Phillies, I know you hate Philly, but with Harper, I mean, it's hard. I don't know. I've come to like Harper, even though I couldn't stand him early in his career. Who knows about the Marlins, who actually finished over 500. The Mets had a horribly disappointing season, but I don't know that they're better. And then the Nationals will be one of the worst teams in baseball, I think. So, of course, our friend Noah on WTIC picked them to lose to the Red Sox in the World Series. John, why don't you take it?
Obviously, I think it's the Braves and the Phillies in this division. Everybody else is pretty much blah.
Do you know the Phillies were in second by 14 games last year?
Oh, yeah, and the Braves were insane. I mean, they were kind of like what the Rays did in the AL, except they didn't come out extremely as hot as the Rays did out the gates.
Plus 231 on run differential. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, their rotation is insane. We all know about their lineup is insane. They are insanely deep. I mean, even if they get hurt, I mean, their backup catcher's an all-star. I mean, they're not. There's really no holes. Acuna, there was a scare with his knee. He seems to be fine. I wouldn't bet against the Phillies. I'm a little concerned. Bryce Harper had never hit a home run in the spring. There was talk about his back being an issue. So I would think Bryce Harper would have hit at least 1 home run this spring, right? If there was some sort of health concern there. So that I would keep an eye on. But I still think the Phillies being the Phillies, they will be the wild card out of that division.
And that's it?
That's it. Wild card out of that division. Well, I have 2 wild card coming out of the West, so I only get 1 wild card.
That's true. So you get another shutout in the Central.
I got Atlanta winning it, and then the Phillies in the wild card.
I completely agree with everything John just said. Yeah, I mean, the Atlanta Braves are ridiculous. They're fun to watch, but they're also frustrating to watch as not a fan of them. Because
I'm the same way.
Like, how are they so good? They had was it 4 guys with more than 40 home runs last year? It was just
and they steal bases too. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, I can't argue with the Braves. It's hard to bet it. How can you say that they're not going to win it? I like the Phillies in the playoffs because I just think the energy that city brings, hate it or love it.
Plus, they're teams that will go get the pieces if they need them, right?
Yeah,
we're all talking about teams that are willing to do what they
Was
need
it
to do.
Dombrowski? He's still in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that guy will do anything to win. He'll bet the farm. The Central, nobody really cares. But I mean, I always get sucked in by Milwaukee, and then I get disappointed. Like, I would love Milwaukee to go to the World Series. I'd love Milwaukee to win the World Series, but they're not gonna. They're just not.
This is like the first year and like last I can remember that the Milwaukee Brewers, I feel like, actually got worse.
And the Cubs got better, right?
They got the manager from the Milwaukee with Council, and yes, they did get better. But I always feel like the Brewers either get a little bit better by getting somebody that's not like a name, and they kind of hang in there, and they might get someone down the break. But this year is like we're like, well, I guess we're good. We don't need to compete. Maybe, I don't know. In a division that sucks, they could definitely win this division.
The only thing I say is, I mean, the Cardinals can't stay bad. I mean, I'm so used to them being in first. I'm going to pick Milwaukee just because I like them better. But I don't really have any insight into anything. But I just can't imagine the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be a last place team again. But
Yeah, this may be more boring than the AL Central.
I think it is,
to be honest with you. So like you, I don't really have a lot of insight with the NL Central either.
We just don't follow them.
I just don't follow them, especially in this area. We don't have any incentive really. But I'll take the Cubs. I'll take the Cubs with Cody Bellinger, and I think that move could help them out a lot. So
I mean, the Cubs are one fly ball drop away from making the playoffs last year. So if they can catch a fly ball this year, they're the same team that they should make the playoffs. And I agree that the Cubs should win this division, but I really think the Cincinnati Reds are going to be a huge thorn in their side because, I mean, they are young, they are ready, and they're hungry. There's nobody on that team that's older than 27 years old.
It's crazy.
And they got a lot of good players, and they got Ellie De La Cruz, who did his first press conference in English.
I love it.
So he's setting trends.
Yeah. John Senecal, Matt Soroyce, Brian Shackman, their fan base, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. Quick question: Can divisional teams meet in the ALCS, or do they have to end up playing each other sooner? Like, could the Orioles play the Yankees?
I think it's all based on the record and how they shake out in the seedings.
So I'm going to take the Orioles and Yankees in the ALCS, and I'm going to have the Orioles go to the World Series, and I think it's going to be Braves, and it's going to be Dodgers. And I think the Braves are going to make the World Series, and I think Baltimore's going to beat Atlanta. I'm picking Baltimore to win the World Series. I think that Dave Roberts gets fired, and those are my. I can't do MVP and stuff like that because I don't.
We won't do MVP. We'll do our World Series predictions though. This guy threw in some ALCS in there. He got some good stuff.
Well, I mean,
you want all that
sweetener in there.
You want all that? I don't know. If we're gonna do all that, I'll
you don't have to do it.
Let's do World Series.
World Series. I'll do the Yankees and Phillies.
And who wins?
As a Homer fan, I gotta take the Yankees. I mean, I think it's got to be this year. It's got to be. So
they haven't done. It's 09, right? That's the last one.
09.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go World Series. I'm gonna go with the Yankees against the Dodgers, and here's my reasoning behind it. The San Francisco Giants don't play up to their potential, and they're out of it. They trade Blake Snell to the Yankees down the stretch, and Cole comes back in August and wins them 8 games down the stretch. And
8 games from August on.
August,
okay.
Yeah, August and September. You know, give him. You're gonna piece him out, but they'll get 8 wins, 8 to 10 wins out of him, and he'll be ready for the playoffs. They'll go in the playoffs with Blake Snell, and Juan Soto's your MVP because he has a historical season batting in front of Judge. And the Yankees over the Dodgers in the World Series, where you will see Shohei pitch if he's not suspended.
I like it. I like it. Next week we'll do, because it will still be, I mean, next week we have home openers for the Yankees and the Red Sox. We'll talk about that. Maybe we'll throw in some MVP, Cy Young talk, because we've got plenty of time, and it's not based on the first few games. It's not going to matter.
It'd be nice to do like instead of the typical Shohei and Acuna, let's do our dark horse picks, like a guy that like nobody's talking about.
Or we'll take 2 people and take them off the board, and you have to pick somebody else to win it. I like that idea. All right, guys. Matt, it's always good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Baseball's back, baby. I love it.
That shirt is just falling off you.
I know.
You look like the kid in Big when with the suit. You know,
He's the reverse Pablo Sandoval.
Exactly. You've been listening to Fan Base, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports.